Hey Stephanie, how are you?
Fine. Wow. I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity.
All right, so today we're joined by Stephanie Rhodes, who posted in my Facebook group that she not only got certified but got hired as a Salesforce Administrator for a large Fortune 500 company. Stephanie, if you could spend a moment just introducing yourself and telling us more about your Salesforce story.
My daughter joined Salesforce about 2 years ago as a customer success manager out of the Minneapolis office. When she joined Salesforce, I thought, well, let me look at this package, first of all, in the cloud, which I wasn't used to, and to look at it from a technical point of view instead of an end user point of view. I loved the package, and I decided to learn it. And I started taking some trailheads. But I learned best by videos and online courses. And so I did some research and found Mike's course. And right away, I knew this was the way to go. He teaches like I learn. So I started taking his course. It clicked. At some point, it clicks. And I think that's probably what happens to a lot of people. So that's my background. That's how I decided to get into Salesforce.
Awesome. Since starting down this path, you landed your certification. And so can you tell us more about that process, like what it felt like when you saw that you had passed, how long it took you?
Yeah, I probably got serious about learning for about 2 or 3 months, believe it or not, but it wasn't full time. I would do a couple hours here, a couple hours there. I would say maybe 2 to 3 hours a day, maybe 3 days a week. And I learned if I got away from it for a week, then I'd start losing it. And so I decided to, toward the end, I really went back and did it pretty much every day. When I took the first test, it was the day before Hurricane Irma hit. I took a proctored exam. And so I had the web assessor going, and I had the camera set up. And meanwhile, my husband's trying to get the furniture out of here and evacuate. So I failed that test.
Little bit of a distraction.
And
But
when I did, I actually did cry. It's very heartbreaking to fail, but I was determined, took it again, and then when I passed the second time, I was just elated.
really, where you got on my radar was when you joined the Facebook group for my students, and you had shared that you had gotten hired. Would you mind to share more about getting hired and why your story might be so inspirational to others?
The recruiter from this company got a hold of me by text and said, "Do you have a moment to talk?" And I said, "Yes." She says, "If you'd like, I have 3 interviews set up for you next week." And I was like, "Okay." Now I haven't interviewed in a long time, and the first person was one of the technical team, and she was great. And she said to me right away, "You passed your cert, huh? You got your cert." And I said, "I did." And I actually told her about your class. And she
Okay.
says, "I'll have to look into that." But this is a really interesting thing she said to me. She said, I see you don't have a lot of Salesforce experience, but have you ever developed an app?" Boy, this was something I was so glad I had done. I had done an app. So I told her about this app. And she goes, "Make sure you tell that to the other people who are going to interview you, because that is a key that you did that." Well, the third person was the systems architect for Salesforce, and he was very technical. He asked me the exact same question: "Have you ever developed an app?" So I told him about the app, and he had a big smile on his face, and I knew then I was probably going to get the job. And about 2 weeks later, they called me and said that I had it.
The time between getting certified and getting hired, what was that time frame?
I think I submitted my resume February, and it was March they made the decision. So it was probably only about 6 weeks or so after my certification that I put my resume in.
What does the day in the life of a Salesforce administrator look like? Could you share with us about that?
I think you're probably all aware there's a big data privacy thing that just happened in Europe yesterday. And that was my first project. My role was to say, okay, Salesforce can do this, or we can do this in Salesforce. So it's really important that I keep up my Salesforce knowledge. And my role is to translate back to the development team. So that's what I do.
So I don't recall if we've mentioned specifically your age. Are you comfortable with sharing your age and why that might be of interest to a certain segment of our audience here?
I'm almost 70. I'll be 69 in a few weeks. So that's pretty close to 70. I don't think anybody thought that a 69-year-old person would even want to have a full-time job. So That's how old I am.
You're a great example of not letting what some would perceive as an excuse to not try. You just went for it, and said, why not? If not me, who? If not now, when? What are your plans for the future?
Well, I'd like to get my advanced certification. That's next. I really don't want to be a full project manager. I like to be the technical liaison between the business user and Salesforce people.
With you showing an interest in the project management side, are you thinking of doing any certifications in that area?
I don't think I'm going to go for project management certification. Okay. I'm going to stay with I want to get a few more Salesforce certifications under my belt. So I'm very comfortable with Salesforce.
I think that those watching are learning so many lessons from you, and I'm just very impressed and happy for your success as well, and so I appreciate your time visiting with me today, and just glad to get to know you better.
I just want to let you know that I so appreciated your courses, and I still take them. I mean, I'm not done with this journey, and I'll continue to learn and continue to take courses, and so I'm so glad I found your course, because I think that made all the difference in the world for me.
I'm glad that you found me and that I got to meet you, and here's to the next decade or more. I'll be excited to see the great things that you do in the cloud, using Salesforce, and we'll definitely stay in touch.